country, and maybe there will be. People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator. Enemies of the state.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 30. 29 yesterday, 30 today. I really got to start writing this down. And we're on air live again today, a little behind schedule. I'm about a half hour late. Some technical difficulties. I worked last night, so I only slept for about 4 hours, got up, had coffee with the wife, and then tried to get this all set up. And then I had some other issues. So I apologize for being late. But today we've got a few things we're going to talk about. And the one thing that we're going to talk about pretty much is going to be about the role of privacy and security in a private membership association. And we're going to cover a couple different topics in this. But first, we talked about it yesterday, the world left behind. There's that other, Civil War 2024 coming out, all these things right in plain sight, right, that they're showing us. All right, hold on, what's that? I got some issues. Why can't I connect to Rumble? I don't know why. Lord only knows, and I'm all by myself, so it's kind of hard to do this on the fly. So just give me 1 second, see what's going on here. You know what? We're just gonna bring on over to I don't know why it's giving me a hard time here. Anyways, we're just gonna move on. So as always, a lot of the things we talk about here doesn't constitute as legal or tax advice, and it's just one person's thought. And again, sorry, people on Rumble, I got to find out why it's not streaming. It streamed yesterday. It's not streaming today. I don't know what to tell you. Let me just go over to my Rumble tab real quick and see what's going on here and what the issue is. Not quite sure why it's not working. I guess maybe I have to create a live stream session every time. That's going to be kind of annoying. Anyways, thanks for tuning in, watching. And like I said, we're going to be going over a few different things today. And for those of you on Rumble, I'll have to upload this later. But let me get back to I got one too many tabs open here. All right, here we go. Back to Yardstream. So like I said, so those two movies, or one movie came out, The World Left Behind by Barack Obama, and there's the other one, the Civil War 2024, that's coming out, I think in like April. So the predictive programming is all right there. And then last night while I'm at work, thumbing around on my phone on some downtime, I see this here. And, let me just add this here, bring this right up. So here we go. Last night in New York, in Brooklyn, a power plant went down, and parts of New York in Brooklyn and New Jersey were without power. Granted, it might have been only for a short time, but people are trapped in elevators. There was chaos. Basically, it's just coincidence. Maybe. I don't believe in coincidences. So there's that one there on the New York Post. And then there's another one here that talks about, it's got a little video from, I guess, somebody that was on TikTok or X and recording the explosion, and then power going out, and then there's people trapped, like I said, in elevators. So they're saying it was due to an equipment failure. I don't know. I'll let you decide, right? So I just kind of found that interesting that yesterday we were talking about that, then all of a sudden it happened. So let me get my mouse back to where I need to be. If you guys can only see this setup, sometimes it's ridiculous. But if you are watching live, please feel free to leave a comment. If you're listening to the audio version afterwards, feel free to leave a comment. Let me know if you guys are liking this content. So that being said, I kind of wanted to get into this whole topic about privacy and security when it comes to an association. So we all know that the unincorporated associations, private membership associations, whatever you'd like to call them, they are between you, your member, and a fence post. That's how I like to put it. So it is private. It's what you do within your intimate association. Now, that being said, you should have some things in line. And I'm not talking about just like the membership agreement, which unfortunately we didn't get to yesterday. We'll go into that in another video when we're talking about the legal forms and stuff like that and the documentation. But you want to know, outside of having your members come in, like we collect with ours and people I work with that I consult with for setting up associations, I collect some information on them. Now, I keep hard copies. I don't keep that stuff online. For Liberty House, we do have our own private website where people come in. If they're requesting to become members, they have to fill out an application online, and then we can kind of vet who they are. So you want to make sure that you tackle any privacy concerns where you're keeping your data stored, whether it's cold storage off on a thumb drive somewhere, if it's what you consider hot storage, where it's on either your own server or somebody else's server. And we're going to get into that in a little bit. But you want to make sure you have some type of data protection and that your members' data isn't going to be leaked anywhere or anything like that, because again, they're joining for that common goal, that reason for an association, and they have that right to have that privacy. And so you want to make sure you have something in place. And I mean, most of the people that I work with have smaller associations. Not everybody is like Amos Miller that had I think he had like 4,000 members or something like that, doing majority of his stuff online. That's going to be a little bit of a different situation. You got to make sure that you have that security stuff in place. Then you also want to talk with your members, see if they have any security concerns. And where a lot of this security stuff goes off of the digital realm is into personal security, into your association security, stuff like that. And we've had these talks amongst ourselves too. So the first thing is just membership verification, whether you issue a card. I mean, granted, most people are going to know people from face to face, but maybe you have a new member and you have a member that hasn't been there in 6 months and they're, coming into wherever you guys are meeting. They're like, hey, who are you? And they can be like, hey, I'm Mr. Smith. Here's my, my association card. I just joined a few months ago. Something as simple as that, where it's just between, you and your members. Now, the other thing, like I said, is data protection. You want to make sure that you're protecting that stuff. And one of the things that I think everybody that has an association should implement, the whole, well, we use Google Drive or we use Dropbox, or I think Proton Mail has their own version, stuff like that. That's all still using somebody else's computer. So I really like the people over at Start9. I have a Start9 embassy server, and let me just show you kind of what their website looks like real quick. And this is a great alternative to using cloud storage because you control this. So if you set this up for your association, not only is it small, takes almost nothing to run, it's all plug and play. It's like using a cell phone basically with their marketplace. You get to take back everything that you would normally use on another server somewhere. So you can have encrypted end-to-end messaging. You can have your own like PayPal services set up where it's through Bitcoin or Lightning payments. I have my own search engine on there set up. I have my own open source version of Chat GPT that I use on there where it's only on my server. I'm not using it, through the normal, open AI, which really isn't open. And there's some things coming down the road, I think, with others that are starting to do more open source stuff where you can use some of this AI stuff for good benefits as opposed to some of the bad stuff. So that being said, I think this is a great opportunity for associations to have that. And it covers a bunch of different things. So it covers some file sharing within the members because everybody can get their own access to it. It secures communication channels, whether you're using it through the phone on your app. Now, there are some nuances to it, like it all runs on .onion, so the quote unquote dark web. You have to have a Tor browser, stuff like that, unless you're hooked up to the local network. But again, it's just adding layers of security, right? So I think that's pretty important. That is, Start9 embassy server. All this stuff I talk about is going to be, it's already in the show notes, or it should be. If I miss something, I'll put it in afterwards. But what I like about that is it covers a couple different details. So the next thing is education and training on this stuff, right? So if you are going to have members that want to have more, let's call it physical security, whether it's, making their home a hard target where it's not a soft target, where it's, if riots were to break out in your area, people are going to look at the house and be like, you know what, now I'm going to go on the next one where they just leave the door unlocked and it says, gun-free zone or something like that, right? So you want to, have some type of education. Now, whether you bring in somebody for the day that can teach NRA or an equivalent to that training so people can get their firearms licenses within their state, that's something that can be done. If you want to have somebody that maybe is in the group that is former law enforcement, they can go over how to harden your home, or how to ensure that your home is secured, and what you could do in case of a natural disaster, and different things like that. So the education takes on a huge aspect of this, and you want to make sure that for your members, because remember, you're bringing all these people together, they're looking at you and everybody else, and maybe they're new to the area and they're like, hey, we're freedom minded, we're homeschoolers, we're just looking for other people to connect with. And okay, well, that's great. And now they're coming to you. So you have to, it's kind of like your flock for the board of trustees or whoever's running everything. These people are coming together, and you gotta, most people, I think, on their own take some advice and do things on their own. Some don't. So, it could be something as like food security. That's another big thing, right? And having food and water set up, and what you can do to prepare a little bit. Maybe it's a canning class, those sort of things. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're setting up these associations, when it comes to the roles of privacy and security, that there's more to it than just secret handshakes, if you guys want to come up with that, passwords, and firearms and bullets, right? So if you don't train with that stuff, it's going to be useless anyway. So training is a huge aspect of all this. And because I only slept 4 hours, I need to have my second gigantic cup of coffee here. And the next thing is going to be, make sure you have some transparency on, you know, I guess I should go back to with the data collection. If you're collecting information on your members, emergency contact phone numbers, a phone tree if you have one. So if there is a natural disaster in an area, I call Mike, Mike calls Bill, Bill calls Susan, Susan calls whoever, and then the last person that gets notified says, "Hey, go back." Or you have certain people split up, kind of like in a squad in the military, where certain like fire team leaders would call their members. However you want to break it up, you should have some type of phone communication if you can. And then some of the other communications we're going to get into, I have some options here for you. But one of the things that I guess, what, we'll just dive right into the communication, because that's going to be a big part. Now, if you're spread out, it's going to be more difficult. Again, if it's something like in some of these movies that are coming out where there's cyber attacks and all this other stuff, some of this stuff may work, some of it won't work. Your cell phone might be, uh, paperweight at that point. So you want to think of alternate means of communication. And so like I have a CB in my truck. If I can get up high enough with the antenna on it, I can get some good range. I know we have other members that have, base stations at their house, CB type stuff. One thing I would suggest, and this is in the link here, I'll share this with you right now. If you're using anything over 2 watts, technically you're supposed to have a GMRS license. It's super inexpensive, super easy to get. I did it in probably like 5 minutes. It's $35, I think, for 10 years, if I remember correctly. But this site here, this is Midland, USA.com. And basically they sell radios and different CBs and stuff for farming, agricultural, UTVs, ATVs, whatever you're going to be using. So it kind of gives you a whole gist of why you need the GMRS license, the rules that go along with it, so on and so forth. So check that out in the description. That'll be there for you. And this is what the FCC website looks like. Just come right over here. You register a username and you go through it, and you get your RFN number, and then you're good to go. And then anybody within your immediate family can also use that number should they need it. So that's also a good option. And again, if it's in like some of the stuff we're seeing lately in this pre-programming, it's not going to matter if you have that or not. I just think having it now allows you to use the equipment you have and practice with it. It allows you to set up base stations, repeaters with the GRMS. So it's something I think you should have. Again, do what you want with it. I have mine. And then, that allows you to use things, like I have, an inexpensive Bowfang radio here. I can use this to listen into the ham radio repeaters. So I can listen to what those guys are saying. Technically, I can't transmit on it, but I could set up my own repeater for this, for the GMRS. And, that way there I can communicate further distances. So, I've got a link for these. They're pretty inexpensive. Or maybe it's something as simple, like we're just under 6 acres, so I may not need something like with a repeater or anything like that. Maybe it's just, the kids love using these. They go out in the woods. I can call them on this, and I can it came in like a pack of 3. So there's some options out there. You don't have to go out and spend a whole bunch of money. But the point is, again, this all comes back to training. So now if you're getting this equipment, you're setting up your means of communication. Should there be, let's just say there's just like a real bad, well, here I'm in New England, so maybe we get a real bad nor'easter and we get 2 feet of snow and people are stuck and somebody needs help digging out, and I've got 4-wheel drive and I can get there because my area is not so bad. I can get on the radio and talk to people if like the phone lines aren't working. Not that a lot of us have phones anymore, or the cell phone service isn't working where you're at, whatever. So there's just some good options, right? And if you guys have any questions on this, feel free to put it in the comments. I will be more than happy to answer them. And yeah, Rumble never clicked on, so I've got to figure out that. I'm not really familiar with Rumble 100%. So that's like communication, stuff like that. And then, you can get into, like I said, the firearms training and, whatever, firearm works for you, depending on your home defense, stuff like that. Just remember, if you are in more of a suburban area and you have to use that firearm, it's most likely going to go through your wall and your neighbor's wall. So just keep that in mind, especially those higher velocity rounds. And again, I get ammo locally if it's on sale. Sometimes I go through bulkammo.com. It just depends, but you want to get, those range rounds, the cheaper ammo just to practice with. There's a lot of electronic devices now you can use within your home where you don't even have to go to the range and it works with your cell phone. So there's many different opportunities to train with your stuff. Just make sure you're doing it in a safe environment. And you always make sure that there's no live ammo wherever you're training if you're not on a range. So that's that. I don't want to say too much because I'll probably get violations somewhere because I said that. So, once you go through that and you figure out your communication, how you're going to communicate, different routes, maybe you have caches set aside where, I know if I'm going to Bill's house, I'm going to come out of my woods, go across the brook, up the road, get back onto the blacktop. I'm going to go up a half mile, turn right, and then I'm going to go another 3 miles, and then there's going to be some water that's stashed somewhere or whatever it is. These are all the things that you can plan out. They don't necessarily have to get that extreme, but I think that it's good to take in a bunch of these different things. And honestly, the majority of us probably aren't going to leave our homes anyways. We're going to stay there. But if somebody within your community and your association needs help, especially if you have localized cells, like we're a little bit spread out here in Connecticut. So I know within my next 2 towns over, I have people that I can connect with, and I can, physically get there without a vehicle if I had to by other modes of transportation. So, that's something to take into consideration. The next thing that when it comes to, the role of privacy, and I should probably just jump back and I should have probably touched on this, if you are going to have any type of online presence. So like for the first 2 years, we had 0 online presence for our local association here, Liberty House. And just recently, just to kind of automate things, because we had people questioning and wanting to join, and members, friends wanted to join. We said, okay, we need to have more of a streamlined process instead of, somebody calling me and then I forget to call them back, or they call another member or what have you. So if you have something online, make sure it's password protected, make sure it's good password protection, make sure you're only giving you're only setting up user accounts for people that, you've vetted and that are members. But, anybody that, like, let's say I have, Mary Lou wants to join, and I say, hey, here's the website. You can fill out an application on there, and then that data comes to us, usually into an email format, and then you just keep a hard copy of it. And that way there, you're protecting who's coming online and who's seeing and getting access to your stuff. I don't suggest Facebook groups for stuff like that. I prefer either Signal or Telegram, or if you have your own Start9 system running your own and encryption chat, and it's literally just going through your server, and that's awesome because there's no chance that hopefully that's going to go anywhere else. So anyways, going through this, there's so many different aspects of security when it comes with associations, and I think, like I said earlier, most people just go right to the guts and glory of firearms and stuff like that, and how do I make gunpowder if I need it, or what type things like that. I mean, I don't prepare for like that type of apocalyptic type stuff. Maybe I should, but I look at, hey, listen, if something should happen in the next 30 days, or we get a huge snowstorm, we lose power like they did here in Connecticut in 2012 when I was over in Afghanistan, or maybe that was 2011, between that time frame. You want to be able to take care of yourself then. So one of the other things with the security side of stuff is also food. So, again, all this for me always comes back to training. And if I don't know how to, preserve my own food, I don't know how to help my members preserve their own food. If I have a member, let's just say a member loses their job and they need, some help. That's the whole point of the association, not only to come together for, a common goal of association, whether it's homeschooling, education type stuff, whether it's, a preparedness group, whether it's a community building group, or maybe you're a local farmer that gives butchery classes or butchering classes, that sort of thing. You want to make sure you have all that stuff available and have those classes. So those are just kind of some of my thoughts on when it comes to the privacy aspect of it. You want to make sure, again, just to kind of recap, if it's online, it's secure. I prefer if you could use your own Start9 server, do that for forms of communication and anything like that, file sharing. That way there it's more secure. If not, use stuff like Proton Mail, Signal. I know Proton Mail, people can go either way with that. I know there's some other options out there, that sort of thing. So those are just kind of my thoughts when I think of the role of privacy and security when it comes to private membership association. It's such a huge umbrella of different things that need to be addressed. I don't think it can all be done in one sitting. So that's why I kind of want to just cover some of the top things that I think about when we're talking with members of our association, or I'm talking with other people. And then another thing, and again, I'm sorry, I'm beating this education thing down like a dead horse, is like if you can do like with the Start9 server, or even just start off with Google Drive or Dropbox if you have to. And if you have somebody that's really good, like we have a member that he curates content like you wouldn't believe, PDF books, everything from canning to, different what's the word I want to use without getting banned? Uh biological type of resources for things that have happened in the last couple of years. But you can also have hard copy stuff. So like I have, you know, um, when I first started canning, of course, I went right to the prepper's guide to canning. And I was like, I picked it up at the local bookstore. I was like, you know what? This is basic, straight to the point. It's got everything I need. There's certain things like that you can start building uh those resources for your other members. And that's the other big thing. Now, one thing I didn't touch on, and we're coming up on like 22 minutes here. I'm trying to keep these, under 45 minutes, because all of us, including me, our attention spans, gotten really short lately, is as we build these associations and these parallel economies, there's certain things that, bartering's great, but what if I don't have something you want and there's no bartering there? There's got to be some other forms of payment. Now, these won't work in all situations, but these are different things that I look at when it comes to having any type of transaction or uh, anything like that within the association. So, one thing that I look at is how can I make it done easily? So, like I said, I have my own Start9 server. I can run my own PayPal through Bitcoin pretty much on there. It's basically the same thing. It's just not PayPal. I can set up my own shop. People can buy stuff, whatever, right? That's not going to work for everybody. So you have to have some other options. So I like Parallel. It used to be GabPay. It's now turned to Parallel. That's very easy to use. They have a card now that's attached to it, which is nice. That's one membership platform where you can send money to other members, which is nice. It's private. The Transact card is also another way of doing that, which is if you're looking for a side hustle, you can have your own digital bank and bring members into your digital bank. And then anybody that has a Transact card, which right now they're waiving the registration fee. I think it is $25, and they're waiving that to the end of the month. The links are in the description, but if not, it's like $25 a year after that. Why I like that is twofold. One, Liberty Dollar Financial Association's on the is working with them right now to incorporate that with their association. So if you all have a Liberty Dollar account and a Transact card account, the biggest thing Liberty Dollar is trying to do now is create their own credit union. Takes a lot of members, takes a lot of funding. So in the meantime, this gives you a debit card option connected to your LDFA account. And then if I need to take out some of my silver, I can transfer instantly to my Transact card. Now, if that member is also a Transact member, I can send them something, even if they're not part of LDFA, or I can use that debit card at the gas station or wherever else I'm at. So Transact card is great for that. Plus, you get Z-Bucks back on that, which allows you to use their private platform for buying goods. Now, again, like I said in other videos, that's still in a beta format. They're still adding stuff to it. So you have to check like every day. But anyways, the idea and the concepts there, I think eventually it's going to get up there, which is going to be nice. That brings me into the Liberty Dollar Financial Association. I love the stuff that Wayne and Kathy Hicks are doing over there. They're changing a few things. Their website platform has changed. They had some issues with the last server. Things are up and running. Things are much cleaner. They're more efficient. I'll probably be doing a recorded video on that one day so you guys can kind of see the ins and outs in that. And what's great about that is I can use it as a local currency, so to speak, an alternate currency where it's in paper form like this, and anybody can cash these silver certificates in. Again, it has like, the warehouse receipt number on the back, if you guys can see that. It has the QR code, and you can see exactly what this half ounce of silver is worth. And anybody can redeem those if they're not in, even if they're not in Liberty Dollar Financial Association. Now, again, if all this happens like we're seeing in the movies, is it going to matter? Probably not at that point, because things are going to get pretty crazy. But for right now, we should start building those alternate economies and these alternate platforms up, because if they do push out this digital dollar, which I'm sure is going to happen, not everybody's going to want to be on board with that. And there needs to be ways for us to survive and to have transactions amongst others that are like-minded in this community. So Liberty Dollar is great for that. You can get the silver coins if you want to hold, 5 to 10% of your net wealth in silver. You can get that sent right to your house, throw it in your safe, or you can leave it right in your Liberty Dollar account. Personally, I like to hold mine on hand just because it's cool to look at. And then you can also send it digitally, which is also nice. So I've used this example before. I've got another buddy of mine who's part of LDFA. We buy chicken feed. I send it, him the money. He gets me the chicken feed. It's easy peasy. It's, not, it's just private, and I like it. So outside of that, you could use gold backs. There's all kinds of other different things. And then app wise, if you are going to use like lightning payments, I would highly suggest Strike. Strike's a great, easy app. For some reason, it's not available in all areas, but it is an easy way to either buy Bitcoin on a regular basis, to stick it away in cold storage, or to have somebody pay you in fiat currency and then convert that to Bitcoin. It all depends on where you're at in this journey and how you want to diversify your stuff. So that's it for when it comes to the monetary stuff. And I'm sure there's other ways you could trade food and time, and you could do a time banking and stuff like that, which is definitely a way to do things within your community. So we do that also. But these are just kind of like the overall things that I think of, and it's such a huge topic. Like we could talk about this for hours, and I just don't want to overwhelm people, because as new people say, hey, I want to set up an association, I want to get this going. And okay, well, it's great you want to set it up, but there's a lot to it. And that's the problem that we see online, is a lot of this stuff isn't explained to everybody, like how much in detail this goes. It's not, again, you don't need any of this stuff. You could just have a group of guys and girls to get together and have at it, and fly by the seat of your pants. But I think it's better to have structure to what you're doing. That way there, it eliminates any confusion or disputes. And then the last thing that I will say is when it comes to your electronic devices, I like Go Dark bags. You can go over there. The links are in the description. You can pick up Faraday bags for your cell phones, for laptops, stuff like that. You can make your own if you want to. I just think they make a good quality product. I don't mind supporting them. And again, it's one of those things like, maybe I'm going to meet a group of within the association, and I don't want my GPS to be tracking me where I'm going, and I don't have a Google phone. So it's going to track it. So you throw it in the Faraday bag and you drive there. And when you're done, you get back to your next destination, you turn it back on, and nobody's the wiser. So those are just some things to think about. I know it's kind of a lot. I'm hoping that those who watch this didn't think it was all going to be about like, physical security and stuff like that. There's many options to privacy and security when it comes to the association. So just keep that in mind. Try to think outside the box, try to do what's best for your members. Start off really small. And then as your association grows, you can add more things. And then some of these things you just might want to include in your personal life. So I'm going to check comments. We don't have any comments today. It looks like, let me just jump on to I go over to the Facebook one. Um, let's see here if I can pull this up. I don't think because there was comments on Facebook yesterday and I missed it. So sorry about that if I missed your comments yesterday. But yeah, continue. I'm still figuring out this whole live stuff, but hopefully you guys like this live stuff going on within this is day 3, episode 30, I think is where we're at. So tomorrow will be episode 31. Not quite sure what we're going to be talking about tomorrow, but I think maybe we'll hit on the membership agreement, what is in that, and then kind of how to like handle funds and banking and stuff like that. And that's going to be that's a topic that comes up a lot. So everyone, thanks for watching. Thanks for jumping on today. I appreciate you coming over to view this. Again, let me know what you think of the comments. Let me know what you think about the content. If you like kind of what we're doing, where it's not just it's kind of like an overall view of the associations and what goes into running them and having them. If there's anything else you'd like me to touch on, please let me know. Whether it's in the Telegram group, it's on. Yeah, you're right. So we got a comment here. Privacy and security is mind-boggling, especially for older people. I can definitely. So my mother's older. I definitely get that when it comes to like electronics and electronic devices. It can be overwhelming at times, and that's why I don't know how long you were listening to the Frozen Dog. I think I said that right, but that's why I think if you have an association, the education aspect is monumental because you're going to have like with us we have a diverse group of people. We have some that are in their late 20s early 30s. We have others that are in their 50s and 60s. So you have those, I guess they're Gen Z's through Gen X to the boomers, all that stuff in between, and there's different levels of proficiency there. So you want to make sure that if you're implementing something that all your members know. And again, it's nothing to be embarrassed about if you don't know how to do it. I would, like my mother's coming up from Florida. I'm going to show her how to use her new phone. So it's just certain things like that. And yeah, it is definitely overwhelming at times. And that's why I want to stress that, when you start setting up your association, when you start bringing in members, start small, hit a few key things that really need to be in place, a way to vet your members, making sure you have a way to identify your members. And then, especially as you grow, because not everybody's going to know everybody by face. And then different types of education or whatever your association is being set up for. So I appreciate the comment. Thank you very much. Again, it was great all seeing you on this Friday afternoon. Yeah, it is Friday. It's my Tuesday for work. So your Friday afternoon, enjoy your weekend. I will tomorrow's Saturday. I'm like 99% sure we'll do another episode tomorrow. I will let you know, but if not, it will be at least Monday through Friday as long as I can keep this going. This is kind of fun. It saves me so much time on editing and stuff like that. All right, here we go. Let's see. He's got another question. He or she. I've been trying to put together a LDFA in my area. I've been handing out the 1/100th ounce warehouse receipts, and no one seems to be interested. All right, so here's the question. Oh, look at that. I can show the question right. Technology. See, I'm learning stuff as we do this. So yeah, this is great. So I don't know what state you're in. I'm in Connecticut. We're pretty blue here, even though we're the constitutional state. We're, a pass through between New York and Boston. We have a rich history here within the founding of this country. And I think we lose that sometimes. But yes, it is sometimes difficult. I would start with, now I don't know if you have a branch office or the exchanges that they're turning those branch offices into or what you have set up. But what I would do is I would start with your local farmers markets, your local crafts people, the lady in your neighborhood that sells eggs or person in your neighborhood that sells eggs, the man, woman, child, what have you. Somebody that has, a cottage industry type thing, whether it's a seamstress, somebody that makes other things, bring the LDFA to them, talk to them about the benefits of it, beating inflation, not contributing to uh, having your U.S. fiat currency going to, let's say, other countries that you don't want it to go to, right? I'm on board with most people. I don't really care for taxes, to be honest with you. I think it's theft, and I think the IRS is just a debt collection agency for the Federal Reserve personally, and they just want to shake you down. That's probably going to get me in trouble somewhere saying that. But working with those within your local community, not just handing them out, but explaining the benefit of it. And if you need help explaining the benefit of it, let me know. I'll be more than happy to jump on a phone call with you. I know if you call Wayne or Kathy or jump on their monthly call if you're a member and ask what's the best way to present this to local shop owners, they'll be more than happy to explain that to you. So, yeah, we're at 35 minutes, and just want to say thank you all for watching. Whether you're watching, listening, I think we have most people listening to the podcast version of this, but thank you very much. I will see you all tomorrow, and if I don't see you, have a great weekend. Stay safe, and yeah, hopefully you are getting ready for the holidays. We'll talk to you soon. Later.